it's Chris Eads, and online is Wootini, here with another Gay Gamer video podcast. This week it's all about the PlayStation, because Sony had their big PlayStation 5 reveal, and I did not watch it live because I was at work, well, I was here, but I was working, so couldn't pay attention to it, so I thought I'll just watch it later. But then later is better anyway, because just like with E3, you don't have to watch the whole giant presentation. You can just pick the videos that you want to watch. And then you don't have to worry about the stuff you don't care about, like sports or racing or whatever. And you don't have to listen to the people yammer on. So I checked out some of the videos. First, let me just say right off the bat, it's weird looking. It is weird looking. Like, I thought that the Xbox One X was kind of ugly because it was just this big black brick thing. It was like, what? But the PlayStation is like, that's under-designed. The PlayStation 5 is over-designed. It's like, I don't even know what to say. Like, it's just crazy looking. It also looks immense. Like, I don't know how that's supposed to fit in a home entertainment system on a shelf. Although I did see a picture of it on its side, so it does look like you can put it on its side, which is how I like to store my consoles, because vertical just takes up too much space. But it's just weird looking and huge. But and there's two versions of it to complicate matters further. There's the one with the disk drive, and then there's the one that's all digital. Now, of course, there's no price points for either of them, because there's no price points for the Xbox either, because nobody wants to be the first one to do it, because then the other one can undercut them. So they're all just sort of playing chicken right now, waiting for somebody to announce a price. But I don't know, I feel like on the one hand, I'm like, well, obviously, the one with the disk drive has all that extra mechanics that's going to cost extra money. But then I'm like, well, but the all-digital one needs to have, like, a way bigger hard drive in it, so that'll cost money, too. But I do think that in the end, they'll probably price the digital version, like, $50 cheaper than the disk drive version, just to try to steer people towards digital downloads and get them away from discs. Because that way they'll buy everything out of the PlayStation Store and they can kind of get more money out of people. I don't have a problem with an all-digital version. Currently, I am still enjoying 3D movies on my PlayStation 4 with my 3D TV. I will still have my PlayStation 4 that I could still use to watch said 3D movies if I did go with the digital version. Although if they did say that it will play 3D movies in the disk drive, I'd be like, yeah, because it's not as important as before when, you know, the PlayStation 3 was basically my Blu-ray player. I have a separate Blu-ray player now. I use my PlayStation to watch 3D Blu-rays. But, like, so that's kind of, you know, whatever. But, I wouldn't mind necessarily going digital. But the other thing is that PlayStation did one thing that the Xbox did not do, which was get me excited for some games. Because Xbox has been like Xbox has turned like super hardcore gamer with like shooters and violence and we're macho and I'm just like, it's a little off-putting for me. Whereas PlayStation has a nice variety of games. They're like, look, platformers, look, cute indie games, look, we have shooters, you know, we have all kinds of different games. And it's like, yes, that's what I like. So, like, they showed a bunch of different games, and, I mean, they basically had me at Spider-Man Miles Morales, honestly. I'm just like, they're like, oh, did you like that Spider-Man game? Here's a sequel. Oh, did you like that Horizon Zero Dawn game? Here's a sequel. And even, like, you know, Resident Evil. They're like, did you like that Resident Evil game? Here's another one. Although I was curious because they didn't say anything about it because these are just teasers at this point. And I think Resident Evil was like a 2021 game. But it was first person again, which makes me wonder if this will also, again, be playable in VR, because I know they are going to do a VR headset for the PS5, but I don't know if Resident Evil will be in VR. Not that I guess it really matters to me, because I could only play Resident Evil 7 in VR for like 10 minutes, and then I had to shut it off because it was giving me a panic attack. It was just too scary. That was too much. Like, the game itself was scary, but to have it, to be in the game was, I was like, no, I can't do this. Like, I was like, no. But there were also some other games that looked intriguing, and I'm like, okay. I mean, there were some where I'm just like, I'm not even going to watch that video, because that's not a genre I'm interested in. But they had some interesting games coming, and I was like, okay, cool. We're going to go PlayStation this game. Because typically, I've been what I like to call a console agnostic, where I own everything, just so I can play everything. But this generation, I'm probably just going to get a PlayStation 5, and I'm not going to ever get the Xbox One X, because the only reason that I have an Xbox One is because of the Kinect, and I wanted to play Dance Central and other Kinect games. But now, they've given up on that, and the Xbox is like, we're just going to be a straightforward gaming console with a controller, that's it. And that's great, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just that that's also, you know, the PlayStation 5 is going to do the same thing, and I can't imagine that there's going to be any exclusives from Microsoft that's going to make me want to shell out the hundreds of dollars to buy an Xbox One X at some point in the future. And it has to be more than one, because I'm not spending hundreds of dollars on a system to play one game. So we're probably just going to stick with the PlayStation 5 this generation. Also because it'll have VR. But the question is, when will I be getting my PlayStation 5? Because it all depends on when the games come out. Because the first game that I'm going to want to play is like a Spider-Man or a Horizon, but I'm curious if they're going to do what they did with the last console generation, where some games came out for the current generation as well as the next generation. Like, if they put out Spider-Man Miles Morales for the PS5, but they also make it on the PS4, I might be like, you know what, I know it'll look a lot prettier and probably play better on a PS5, but if I can just buy the game and play it on the system I already have, and save the $500 to $600, because that's what I'm guessing it'll cost, I'm going to do that. But when you finally get a game that I really, really want to play, like if they say, like if that happens with Spider-Man and then Horizon is like, only on the PS5, I'm like, alright, well, there we go. I've got to go and shell out for a PS5 now. But, like, that'll all come later in the year when they make full announcements on price points and release dates for games and everything, and then we'll figure it all out then, and we'll see what I end up doing. Also, talking about PlayStation, I think I may have discovered what's been causing my PlayStation to glitch up. If you're a longtime viewer, you probably remember, I've mentioned this more than a few times, that every so often there's like a system update or something, and my PlayStation, I'll put it to sleep, and then when I go to play my game, it won't wake up. And I have to shut it off, restart it, and then load up my game and wait for it to check the hard drive and load up my game and everything, and it takes forever and it's a pain in the butt. Because this whole, like, suspending the system, putting it to sleep, and waking it up and jumping right back into your game is, like, the greatest invention of this console generation. It's amazing. So when my PlayStation doesn't do that, I get really frustrated. But I always assumed, because it always seemed to happen after a system update, and I always blamed that. And then I would have to wait for the next system update before I would try again, and then it would work. But what happened was, I think it might have something to do with the hard drive, because I went to download Call of Duty World War II, which is it's one of the free PlayStation games for June, for PlayStation Plus. And I was like, that looks interesting. So I went to the store and I went to click Add to Library. But it wasn't Add to Library, it was Download. And I was like, oh. So it couldn't download it because there wasn't enough hard drive space, because it needs, like, 60 gigs or whatever ridiculous. And I was like, who has that? Probably should have looked into an external hard drive, but whatever. But the thing is that I think that, so what I did was I ended up clearing space because I was like, well, I didn't want to, like, next month go to try to download it and have it say, oh, it's not in your library, you can't download it. So I said, let me just download it now. Let me just go erase some stuff and clear some space, and then it can download the thing. So it was downloading it while I'm playing Assassin's Creed, and then the next thing I know, like the next day, my PlayStation won't wake up. I was like, dang it. And I try again, and then it won't wake up again. And I was like, dang it. And it finished downloading Call of Duty, so there was like a sliver of hard drive space left. And I thought, you know, let me just see something. And I went in, I deleted another large file, another game file, just to clear up some space. And, you know, put like, 20 or 30 free gigs of space on there. And then my PlayStation would go to sleep and wake up properly. So I'm wondering if that had something to do with it. I don't know. It seems to have fixed it because now my PlayStation behaves normally because there's this extra space. Because I just didn't want to have just a sliver, because just in case it needs to download an update for a game, like it just did this week. At the end of the week, it had to do a very massive file for No Man's Sky with their latest update, and I wanted to make sure there was plenty of space to be able to do that automatically in the background, and I wouldn't have to deal with it myself. So clearing space seems to have fixed that whole falling asleep and waking up problem that I experience from time to time. So I don't know if that's what it was, but it seems to have fixed it, so I'm going to pretend that it was, and we'll see, until tomorrow when it doesn't wake up again, and I go, what the hell? Because there's actually a game that I want to buy, but I'm like, oh, do I really want to download a game? Do I have space for it? I need to make sure that I keep free space, because I kind of want to get Beyond Blue, which is a little indie game that just came out, and it just looks beautiful. You are a underwater researcher in the near future, and you just swim around, and it just looks gorgeous, and you scan, underwater sea life, and explore areas, and do research, and it's like educational and stuff, but it just looks lovely. I'm also tempted because I know they're developing it. It's on like all the different systems, and they're working on it for the Switch. It's not out for the Switch yet, and there's a part of me that's like, oh, that would be nice to have like portably. But then the other part of me is like, well, no, because you're kind of wanting to play it with like really beautiful graphics. Like I want to experience the underwater and have it look as good as possible, so maybe I want the PlayStation 4 version because that'll look better than the Switch version, because the Switch version might be not as pretty. But I don't know. But then I also don't want to add too much to my hard drive on my PlayStation, because then it won't go to sleep and wake up properly. But we'll see. This has gone on way too long, so come back next episode and I'll talk about non-PlayStation stuff maybe. Maybe I'll have bought Beyond Blue. I don't know. Maybe I'll try that new No Man's Sky update. You'll have to come back and find out. To be continued. Bye!